Hey guys, Josh here, and I have been using the 2020 iPad Pro for about a week now, so here are my thoughts. So first off, the reason I went with the 11-inch model is because it is the perfect size for me. It's large enough for watching videos, gaming, and even for some light photo editing using Photoshop, while still being ultra portable and lightweight. And since I don't plan on using this as a laptop replacement, I really don't need a large screen. So let's look at what is actually new on the 2020 iPad Pro, starting with the specs. So the new iPad Pros come with the A12Z Bionic processor, which is only slightly faster than the A12X on the 2018 iPad Pros. The A12Z features an 8-core GPU, while the A12X features the 7-core GPU, but evidence has suggested that they are actually the same processor. In reality, the 2018 iPad Pros likely have exactly the same CPU and GPU, but Apple disabled one of the GPU cores in the previous generation. Regardless, it is still the fastest iPad that Apple has ever made. We also get 6GB of RAM and up to a 1TB SSD. And so far it has handled everything that I have thrown at it without any issues at all. Whether I am multitasking, gaming, or even editing 4K video, it does everything pretty much flawlessly. But since the 2018 iPad Pros have almost the exact same specs except that they came with the 4GB of RAM, this shouldn't really be a surprise. And for those of you who care about the numbers, I ran some tests using Geekbench. So on the CPU, the 11-inch iPad Pro scored an 1112 on the single core and a 4628 on the multi-core. Regardless, the 2020 iPad Pros are blazing fast and most people will not have any issues with performance at all. The most exciting thing about the release of the 2020 iPad Pros was that they were announced alongside the Magic Keyboard, making this seem more like a computer than ever before. So we will now get a full-sized scissor keyboard with 1mm of key travel and a trackpad. And the iPad will even float above the keyboard. There will also be a pass-through USB-C port, which will open up the one on the iPad to be used for something else. But they won't be cheap. The 11-inch Magic Keyboard will cost $299 and the 12.9-inch model will cost $349. This would make a base model 12.9-inch iPad Pro with Magic Keyboard cost $1,350. And just to give you something to compare that with, you can buy the base model 13-inch MacBook Pro for $50 less than that. But either way, the Magic Keyboard won't be available for another month and will also work on the previous generation iPad Pros. So if you are thinking about upgrading for that reason, you don't need to. But if you are planning on picking up one of the new iPad Pros, you may want to wait so that you can get the keyboard at the same time. Next is the cameras. So Apple has moved to a dual camera setup much like the iPhone 11. We get a 12 megapixel wide angle and a 10 megapixel ultra wide angle. And if you take photos and videos with your iPad, then that's great, but I think for most people, including myself, this isn't really a big deal. Other than using the camera to scan and sign documents, I don't really use it at all. It's easier to just use my iPhone, and since it all syncs up to iCloud anyway, I can just grab any photos or videos that I want to edit through the Photos app without having to transfer anything. We also have this new Lidar scanner on the back, which measures how long it takes light to reach an object and reflect back. So with this, we should see a lot of improvements in AR. I was expecting that this would mean better portrait photos since it would be easier to differentiate between the foreground and the background, but portrait mode still only works with the front-facing camera on the new iPad Pros. I think we will probably see this change with the release of iOS 14. Another thing that is not exclusive to the 2020 iPad Pros are the features that came with the release of iOS 13.4 and iPad OS 13.4, which included improved mouse support and now trackpad support. So we now have full mouse support for Bluetooth or USB, and the cursor will change based on the type of content behind it. For example, if you are over top of a button, it will be a circle, and then if you go and hover over text, it will switch to a text cursor so that you can easily highlight text. And if you right click, you can copy, look something up, or share your selection. So using a mouse along with a keyboard definitely makes it more like a laptop, but you also get this on the 2018 iPad Pros, so there's no need to upgrade for that reason either. Battery life has been excellent, and I have no problem getting through the day, even at full brightness. And that's when doing light browsing, streaming 1080p video on YouTube or Netflix, and checking emails mostly. And battery life should be pretty consistent with the 12.9-inch model since you have a bigger battery, but you also get a larger, higher resolution display. We still have the same super bright liquid retina display as the 2018 models, so nothing has changed with that. It's a 120Hz ProMotion screen, so it's really smooth when scrolling through content, and of course it's great for gaming. Pair it with a controller and you have a pretty nice mobile gaming setup. Although you'll be limited when it comes to what games are available. And it is just an amazing screen for consuming any kind of media. I prefer using the iPad Pro over my iPhone or MacBook Pro when it comes to streaming videos, browsing, and checking emails. The wide color display also makes it great for color-sensitive work in photo and video editing. And I've actually found it's much nicer to use Photoshop along with the Apple Pencil on the iPad rather than using the full version on my MacBook Pro. I still don't use it for video editing, and I don't think I ever will, but it's nice to know that I can edit on the go if I need to. It's still the same design as the 2018 models as well, aside from the square camera bump on the back, which is fine given that this is really just a minor refresh on the previous generation. You have the 4-speaker audio, the same button placement, and a single USB-C port. If you are planning on using this as a laptop replacement, I would recommend getting a USB-C hub like this one that I got from DodoCool. This way you can plug in multiple devices, SD card readers, and HDMI, and you can even continue to charge it while using this. If you want to check that out, I'll leave a link in the description below. And this is not the only iPad Pro that is supposed to be released this year. It looks like there will be a late 2020 iPad Pro with a mini LED display and 5G connectivity. So if you have a 2018 iPad Pro and are thinking about upgrading, I would skip this one for sure. Most of the big changes have to do with the Magic Keyboard and iOS 13.4, which are not exclusive to the new models. But if you are a first-time buyer or coming from an older iPad, then this would be a great buy. I use it every day, and I think it's a great companion device to go along with an iPhone and a laptop. And even though it might be priced like a computer, I certainly don't think it replaces one yet. It's a great computer alternative until you have to run some program for work or for school that just isn't available on the iPad. So the 11-inch model starts at $799 and the 12.9-inch model starts at $999. And they are available on both the Apple Store and Amazon. So I will leave a link in the description below if you want to pick one up for yourself. And that wraps it up. I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and if you did, then be sure to smash that like button as it helps out a lot. And if you want to see more videos like this, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.